It's been about a year since our lives were turned upside down by a pandemic. When the quarantine started, most of us thought, okay, this will be a few weeks, maybe at worst, a month or two, and then things will be back to normal. Well, now here we are, a year later, and not a whole lot has changed. There are vaccines now, which is a wonderful thing, and people are getting that vaccine slowly but surely. And there is reason to hope that in the near future things will go back to at least something that seems somewhat normal. We may not ever get quite back to the way things were. There will probably be precautions that we'll be taking from here on out that we hadn't considered prior to COVID. But we can at least rest assured that we are on the road toward some sense of normalcy. Maybe during this time of pandemic you've been at home, maybe with your families, and maybe at times you've gotten stir crazy and you've just wanted to go out and do the things that you would normally do, but you've been trapped at home. Maybe you feel cramped in your house, especially if you have a large family. Now, I want you to imagine for a second. Let's say that you have a room that is 3 feet by 4 feet, right? So if you're taller than 4 feet, then you can't lay down. Okay, so a room that's 3 feet by 4 feet, and you have to stay in that room for 91 days. 91 days straight. Can't come out of it once. Let's say it's a bathroom, okay, so at least you have a toilet there. A bathroom that's 3 feet by 4 feet, you have to stay there for 91 days. Oh, and I forgot something. Let's say there are also 7 other people in there with you. So 8 people in total in a bathroom, 3 feet by 4 feet, for 91 days. How do you think you would fare? I want to introduce you to a modern day saint, someone who, by the grace of God, is still alive and sharing her story. Immaculée Ilibagiza was born in 1972 in Rwanda. Now, I don't know how much you know about Rwanda, but there was a genocide that took place in the 90s. I mean, we've all heard about the genocide that took place in Germany, but there was also a genocide even more recently that took place in Rwanda. You see, there were 2 main tribes in Rwanda, the Hutu and the Tutsis. And there was a lot of propaganda going around, trying to instill a hatred for the Tutsis in the mind of the Hutus. And eventually that propaganda reached a level where it was calling for the Hutus to kill all of the Tutsis. And because that propaganda had been slowly seeping into the minds of the people for a long time and slowly building, when it got to the point where it was calling for murder, the people were ready to respond. Well, Immaculée and her family were Tutsis. So when the massacre started happening, they saw a lot of their friends being murdered. Immaculée saw her family members murdered. Bodies of Tutsi people strewn about in the streets. Immaculée knew that if she was going to survive, she had to hide. It was her only option. So she went to the home of a local pastor, a pastor who happened to be a Hutu. At first, the pastor did not want to let her in, because the pastor knew if she was found in his house, then they would kill not only her, but also, most likely, him and his entire family. But Immaculée convinced him, so he hid her in a small bathroom, 3 feet by 4 feet. It was a bathroom off of their master bedroom, and he took a wardrobe and slid it in front of the door so that if anybody came to check his house, they just might miss that there's a tiny bathroom there. Eventually, 7 other Tutsi women were brought into that bathroom as well. For 91 days, they had to sit quietly in a bathroom. The only thing they could eat were the scraps that the pastor brought them every now and then. They could hear a lot of the Hutus outside searching for more Tutsis to kill. There were times when the Hutus came to check the pastor's house, and they did a full sweep of the house, and somehow, by the grace of God, they missed that bathroom. So imagine that you are in a 3 foot by 4 foot little room with 7 other people for 91 days. As if that's not bad enough, then add on top of it the fact that if you make too much noise, you might get killed. Or even the fact that you could get killed for doing absolutely nothing if someone just happens to find you. So how did Immaculée stay sane throughout this? I mean, how could you not go crazy? Well, Immaculée prayed. She asked the pastor if he had a copy of the Bible, and he did, so he gave it to her, and she read. She read scripture. You know, she was born to a devout Catholic family. Immaculée's dad was kind of a pillar in the community. Everybody came to him whenever they had a problem in their family that needed sorting out because they knew he was wise. He was the sort of person who was just a natural leader. But it was those 91 days in that bathroom that made Immaculée's faith come to life for her. I mean, she prayed. She prayed like she had never prayed before for those 91 days. And when the war ended, when it was safe to come out, the relationship that she developed with God in that bathroom didn't end. Now Immaculée goes all around the world telling her story, telling how she drew closer to God in that bathroom and how God taught her to forgive the people who had killed her family. So whenever I feel a little stir crazy and feel like I just want to go do normal things during this pandemic, I think about Immaculée Ilibagiza for 91 days in a 3 foot by 4 foot bathroom with 7 other women. My Lord. You know, there are examples of modern saints all around us, people who are living a life of discipleship to Jesus Christ, people who can be an inspiration to us. And we need to know their stories. We need to tell their stories, share them. I hope that Immaculée Ilibagiza is as inspirational to you as she has been to me. Now please read the material below and answer the reflection questions. Have a great week.